So on that note, please allow me to bring for all of you there, ladies and gentlemen, Vyshak Venugopalan. He is Head Solutions Consulting from Adobe India. And joining him would also be Ankur Mittal, MD and President APAC from ArgilDX. Over to you two gentlemen.
Hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is Ankur Mittal, Managing Director and President Asia Pacific for ArgilDX. I am joined by Vyshak Venugopalan today to talk about a topic which is very apt in current times, that is accelerating customer experiences through digital experiences. Vyshak is Head of Solution Consulting at Adobe and talks about customer experience day in and day out. I'm sure he can even talk about the topic in his sleep, and he has worked with hundreds of customers in his career. So welcome, Vyshak.
Thank you, Ankur. Excited to be part of this event.
Thanks for giving your time. How are you doing today, Vyshak?
I'm doing great. Hope all of you are doing great as well. Look forward to this chat.
Thanks. I'm definitely looking for a great conversation today. So I'll start with a very, very important question and goes with our topic as well. Everyone has been talking about CX and DX interchangeably for almost 3-4 years now. But 2020 has really changed a lot of things for every enterprise out there. It's not about just customers, it's about imbibing digital within the organizations as well. People have adapted delivery and support in digital formats as well. So our audience here and myself personally, I would love to hear your views on what has changed in past 1 year. How has CX become more important? And also if you can share some COVID stories with respect to business changes.
Sure, definitely. Thanks for that question. Yes, what a roller coaster of a year, right? That went by for sure. So in my humble opinion, right? So before, the customer experience was all about delivering highly delightful, really personalized and really, relevant experiences to the customers whenever they needed, wherever they needed, right? It was, a definition of CX as such. What has got added on top of this with this pandemic and last year is that now it's that we have to do we have to support our customers in their critical needs in an exclusive digital only world. So what has happened now is DX has become this high fast bullet train which is taking CS as one of the passengers and is moving forward because of this pandemic as such, right? And, this is quite evident for a country like India especially. Why? Because we did a survey just before COVID, and I firmly believe that customer voice hasn't changed. It has only amplified, right? And it clearly states that India is a country where consumer demands from technology to give really human good experiences the highest in the entire world. Our consumers demand the best. But the other side of the coin is that our digital India businesses, right, in terms of their rating, their rankings on how good they are in delivering customer experience, digital experiences, they're not that great on a global scale. So this creates a huge gap in terms of demand for good experiences versus ability to deliver great experiences. And that gap is the opportunity that businesses should seize, especially in these times. Let me give you a COVID specific example, right? We all know that travel and hospitality industry got really hit, right? And I'm talking about an airport company here, whom we have engaged with them a couple of years ago, and they made a strategic decision to invest in digital experience platforms. And you know what? COVID hit. And of course, there is not much traffic as we would expect in airports. And what they did was really fascinating. They actually put the pedal on the metal and they decided to accelerate the CX strategy because that was the time consumers needed really good experiences, really good content delivered based on their persona, be it a business traveler or people going back home or people coming back from places they were stuck at and stuff like that. And highly relevant personalized experiences they went live with and content for all. And the result is, even though the traffic is low, their engagement rates all across their digital experiences, be it their app, website, email, has gone through the roof. A perfect example of even though a challenge industry, but because they could deliver meaningful customer experiences using digital mechanism, they stood out of the crowd. Now, Ankur, I know that this was just one example as such. I'm sure you also have, great stories to share on the COVID aspect. All ears for those.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have already quoted some great example. I would like to actually quote an observation. Everyone has heard that proverb, need is the mother of invention. Seems like in this COVID, what we saw, that pandemic became the mother of invention. I saw, enterprises trying to rush at their digital transformation in last 9 months and just started going at it left, right, and center. For me, I think the major observation or learning was that, you don't let a pandemic or calamity drive, your need of digital customer centricity economy. But one should always, anyways, prep for it. In charity, do begins at home. You should be prepared to imbibe digital within your company as well. We at Argil always had that culture of working from home, working remotely. We had tools. I mean, I think we procured Zoom almost 2 years back. Then we had, other tools to basically communicate with each other. So it was a very seamless transition for us. We were able to continuously deliver to our customers from remote location without any changes or any challenges. So I think one should really look from a forward perspective rather than any calamity drive this need for DX. So that's that. So Vishak, I have actually another question for you. So when I talk with customers, I often hear this CX overall sounds like a very complicated and long process, just like an art or making a dum cooked biryani. So according to you, what are the secrets or key ingredients of this biryani called CX?
I mean, I must thank you, Ankur, for this excellent analogy of biryani. I could really, relate to this very well, right? Why? Because the types of biryanis available all across India, right? And of course, the art wherein which, the ingredients needs to be perfectly balanced and cooked in different styles and stuff like that. And needless to say, a perfectly cooked and tasty biryani definitely delights customers and also makes us remember the time when we actually had it. So excellent analogy. Thanks for that, Ankur. So, if I can actually answer that about, why it is complicated and what does it take? In my opinion, it's all it takes is a triangle which has 3 points, right? Which is people, process, and technology, right? And all three sides are equal and important, right? I've seen organizations feels that it is complex because their balances are not very balanced on all three sides, right? So sometimes it's technology heavy that they actually forget about the aspects of people and process. Sometimes it is process heavy and you forget about technology and people for that particular matter, right? So this customer first mindset, which is what CX is all about, it definitely needs, fundamental shift in the strategy. It needs investment from different business groups. And it also needs, a culture change in terms of how we are talking about, different cultures and leadership coming together as such, right? And of course, needless to say, all of this needs to be supported by excellent, technology infrastructure as such. So, the reason of change definitely needs buy-in from top end, and nobody should forget that the balanced, perfectly cooked biryani means these three key ingredients: people, process, and technology in the right balance as such. So that's what I had to say about this thing. And you know what? We come from the technology aspect. You are more or less set when you go with a digital experience technology leader such as Adobe. But Ankur, you are being in the front line in delivering the people and process that is needed to create delightful CX experiences. What are your thoughts on this people and process of the numerous projects that you have run?
So that's a great question, Vishak. I think it is called a triangle for a purpose. It has three corners, but they are connected by the sides. So people, process, technology. So I believe every aspect is very important. And whenever any company, any enterprise is, talking about doing digital transformation, I think they should actually keep all the three aspects in mind. Technology is an enabler, no doubt, but people are the ones who have to use it, who have to imbibe it, and the processes are meant to keep people honest to the journey and the outcome. So when we work with our customers and we really keep marketers, administrators, content editors at the core of our focus, since I believe they are going to be equal stakeholders of this digital transformation journey. You can't just, have a digital transformation journey in mind, keeping only the UX in mind. You got to kind of keep the customer as well as the people experience in mind. So, and we really believe in crawl, walk, and run kind of strategy. So, just like your biryani example, you can start with ready to cook package. I actually started cooking biryani just like that. I bought a Kohinoor package from market and, just mix the ingredients in a pot and let it cook. So that's how I started. So that's my crawl strategy. And in tech perspective, so maybe you start with a platform that, gets you, get your product out very quickly. You get the feedback from the customer. You get the feedback from the people who are going to use that platform. You imbibe the processes in the journey, and then you basically optimize it and then basically build on top of it. I think that's the best way to, really accelerate your digital journey and for the great customer experience. So that's my thought on that, Vyshak. So I actually hear one more thing from customers from day to day, which is cost of DX. I feel cost of DX is highly overrated. I really would like to hear your views. Enterprises feels that CX investments are only meant for Nikes and the Ferraris of the world and tend to take a very reactive approach to the demand. According to you, how should one look at the cost of DX?
So, a very interesting point, and this is something which, for a fact that I know that scares a lot out of C-level executives about. Oh, I know I need to do, and it's a fear. I need to do CX, but it costs so much. It's like minimum 2-year projects and stuff like that. Let me tell you, cost of DX is highly overrated. It's not the cost. It's the intent, and it is the customer first mindset which needs to be put in place first, which is the most difficult thing to put in place as well. Let me give you examples, right? So first of all, you are talking about cost, you will talk about return as well. Now, when we talk about return, what you need to look at is CX is not just going to improve your end customer experience. CX is also going to improve your overall stakeholder experience, your partner experience, your channel partner experience, your delivery experience, your employee experience, your leadership experience, so on and so forth. So when you think of return from CX, it's not just the end customer return, it's an overall upliftment of parameters across organizations. Keep that in mind when you think of cost. Now, let me give you very simple examples of CXs are not related to huge cost at all and stuff like that. Of course, you can actually follow your principles of, upfront investments, or, you can actually go with the crawl, walk, run model as you actually talked about delivering experience. So the same thing applies to cost here as well. Let me give you a very simple and quick example. This is one of our customers who have invested in our platform from the BFSI industry. And they said, with the pandemic has hit, they said, okay, let me review every customer communication messages and see what is the emotional quotient or what is the empathy quotient of this particular message. It took them 1 week to actually review all the customer communication messages, be it a birthday wish or payment reminder. And they said that, okay, let me tweak it so that it sounds empathetic and I want to give that empathetic experience to customers. Does it cost much? No. And the result, that customer experience has improved their engagement rates by 20% just by tweaking the messaging that's in there. Does it cost? Nothing. So it's the intent that is needed. Cost is something which you will forget about it, because once you see the returns, which is proven returns, we'll talk about as well in the end. Now, Ankur, you have been delivering projects where you have seen costs coming in, going out and stuff like that. What is your opinion about this cost? Don't you also think that it is overrated when you think about cost in India?
Yeah, I think it is definitely overrated, because what I feel like is CX is like a mutual fund. You have to make systemic investments into it, and you're investing in a future. You really should not take a short-term view. It's not like trading that you can work on a high risk, high reward kind of a scenario. You are dealing with real business problems, real customer experience. You've got to have a futuristic view to it. So while calculating the cost, I think one need to look at total cost of ownership over a period of 5 years at least. The channels are changing. You need to kind of invest in a platform that really can grow with you for 5 years. It at least is future forward. The company is really investing in R&D and innovation, and making sure that they are catering to the growing channels. Every day we are adding a new channel, be it your smartwatch, be it your smart home devices like your Alexa and Google Homes. So one should really, look at that perspective. And if you evaluate the cost of a platform or your technology spending from a 5-year view, a total cost of ownership, I think you'll be able to justify the cost. Otherwise, what would happen? So let's say if you really start with a platform and you start with working on it, and after 1 or 2 years you feel, oh, this platform can't really keep up with my need, and you need to kind of change it. So you are anyway spending your money on the migration effort and the platform change cost, and so much pain that comes with it. So ultimately, I feel CX is overrated. The cost of CX is overrated, and one should really look at it from a future forward perspective. So, thanks for your input on that.
About the mutual fund and systematic investment. Excellent way to put that. Yes, that's what we need for CX.
So, I think I would like to wrap this up with a question, because we are almost sitting at the anniversary of this pandemic. We are in December. Last year, we kind of heard it has hit the country. So, I'm sure you must have heard some stories from your customer for which you have seen the CX investment working. Maybe, they had sown the seeds in 2019 and they are now reaping the benefits. Do you want to share some stories with our audience over here?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So I've had the privilege to work with the who's who in different industries of India, and I'm really thankful for those experiences. And one thing that I want to share here is the people who actually kind of had the futuristic insight and they decided to move the CX way, start to re-engineer their system, re-architect their process, all outward facing, all based on customers. They reaped the benefit during this pandemic. Why? Because the platform has said all they had to do was actually tweak these dials and make sure that their execution is actually hitting the right kind of people, right? But there are another set of people who are sitting at this fear of missing out. Oh, I need to now change my business model. What do I do? Am I too late in the game? The answer is no, you're not too late in the game. In fact, we did a customer experience index survey just before COVID, and we found out that the businesses who have invested in experience, who made experience their business, they are actually beating the industry index, Nifty 50. They are actually 50 basis point higher in terms of how their stocks have actually grown in the Indian market. So it definitely pays off for sure, right? Talking about, specifically, as I said, during the COVID times, we have examples of empathetical communications. We have examples of rolling out new digital platforms very, very quickly for customers to use and stuff like that. All in all, I have ranging from 1.9x ROI to 3.4x ROI, right? So for the people who have invested in this platform earlier, that's something that I've clearly seen in India, which means within 12 months, you restart reaping the benefits of investments in CX as such.
All right. So I think what I'm hearing is clearly, when done right, investing in customer experience brings a strong return on investment. The key is probably using data to prove the ROI of CX and painting a convincing story. I think that is what we are hearing from the market. And thanks a lot for your inputs, Vyshak, today, and talking to me about all these scenarios. Thanks for your time, and really great talking to you.
Love it. Thanks for the discussion. Excellent point, Ankur. Thank you so much.
Thanks.